Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. Today, my good friend and guest every year coming back to visit us here at our house this time, George Marshall, Executive Director and CEO of the Rhode Island Film Festival, Flickers. We've got actually a couple of film festivals to talk about today, so we'll get them all in. I welcome you back to the show.
Great to be here, Sean.
Thanks for having us at your place last time. We'll go back up there next year. How about that?
Last time we were at the Province Performing Arts Center.
That's right.
On the
beautiful,
balcony.
beautiful venue. There are places that are getting work done up there, and there's so much to get to today. Let's a little bit of background on the film festival in general.
Well, the film festival actually will hit its 20th anniversary next year, so it's going to be a big year for us. And the parent organization, Flickers, which started as the Newport Film Society back in 1981, hits its 35th year. So we have two big anniversaries, and we're going to be actually celebrating both of those. We'll be leading in with some of the product that we've done with Flickers that is not necessarily film related, because we've done concerts, we've done art gallery displays, there's a lot of other things because it's an arts collaborative. And under the film festival, it has its own life. And that's become one of our biggest signature pieces. And the cool thing about the film festival is that we're New England's only Academy Award qualifying festival. We have two categories at this point. One is the short narrative films, which could be anything from student films to animation films or just general shorts. And then we also have documentary shorts. So that's two. And I believe we're one of 19 festivals worldwide with those two awards that we can give out.
Wow.
And then we have a new one that just came in actually just before the festival started. We're now qualified from the British Academy of Television Arts, and it's called the BAFTA Awards. So we're actually, with those three of them, we're on one of 6 festivals worldwide.
Wow, that's impressive. And it grows and it gets bigger every year. More entries every year?
Yeah, last year we had, and last year for me, by the way, that's August.
So we're just starting a new cycle.
We're starting a new cycle.
Okay.
Because ours really goes from August to August. And the last cycle we had 5,700 and change entries worldwide.
Wow.
And we saw close to 300 filmmakers that attended the festival in August. And it was pretty exciting for us because not only were the films amazing, but the level of energy that came from the filmmakers who visited the festival. I mean, we're talking filmmakers who came from India, filmmakers who came from China, from Japan, from Italy. I mean, it was really all over the place.
It really is international then,
Very
isn't it?
international. And it was great for the folks that support us because the hotels were filled, the restaurants were filled, and that lends itself to some of the other programming we do throughout the year. And we ended the festival on a very high because Julia Louis-Dreyfus was there with the festival, with her husband Brad Hall and her dad. And we had, let's put it this way, we were SRO for that final screening. And what was nice about that was it was a high energy event. It was a great way to close the festival. And then, of course, she just won an Emmy last night.
That's right, on the
So
Emmys.
that's not a bad thing.
And thank you for I always ask you whenever you come on the show to do some name dropping, and you did it already for me there, but I'm sure there's others that we can
Well,
mention too.
I can drop a fair amount of names. I mean, for example, we talk about Emmys last night. Viola Davis, who's from Rhode Island, just won an Emmy, and Viola and I go back to when I used to teach at Rhode Island College. So let's just say I have a personal investment in her. And Richard Jenkins,
You're like a proud parent, aren't you?
very much so.
Yeah.
With Richard Jenkins, who is one of our award winners, he won his first Emmy last night. Now, Dick lives in Cumberland, Rhode Island with his wife, and I met him when he was connected with Trinity Repertory Company. This is years and years ago. And he was he took over for 2 years as the artistic director. And I used to, my team with students, we actually did what you guys did. We were shooting their commercials, and I still have my equity clearance to go in and shoot the first half hour.
Wow.
So when I saw that last night, he won our George M. Cohen Ambassador Award several years ago, and he stays in touch with us, and it was really nice to see that he won that last night.
So you can conceivably, you can be an unknown and submit, a short film, and if you play your cards right and your enthusiasm stays high and you do all the right things and a little bit of luck, you could make a name for yourself.
Well, it's kind of interesting because we get a lot of stuff that starts with student entries. And over the years, and we've been doing this now 20 years, we'll see these folks go from students to professionals in the field, and then much more seasoned. So I can tell you, I mean, we've had filmmakers that have submitted, in some cases, more than 10 films, 10 years, over a 10-year period. those folks stay in touch with us. They're alumni. Some of them now are part of our advisory board. They've been with us so long. Case in point is a fellow named Joe Procopio. Now, Joe started with us at age 9. He's a Canadian citizen from Toronto. Joe is now 22. This is the first year we've not had a film from Joe because Joe is actually planning on shooting his feature film debut in Rhode Island.
So he's big time now. Yeah?
He's getting there. He was picked up 2 years ago. Maclean's Magazine, which is a Canadian publication, listed him as one of the top 25 young Canadians that are up and coming. And his work always premiered with us. Then it went to South by Southwest. It went to Seattle. It went to Toronto. It went to Sprockets. It went to the Chicago Children's Film Festival. 2 years ago, Seattle did a retrospective of his work, and this kid's a teenager. Wow. Well, not anymore, but I mean, yeah, he was a teenager then. It's exciting for us to see that level. So yeah, you can start with us, and we're very concerned and nurturing of young students and young talent, and then grow with us. We're a filmmaker-friendly festival. We bend over backwards to make sure that the needs of the filmmakers are accomplished first. We have programming all week long that deals with things in their industry, everything from how to cast to acting for camera to how to fund your programming. I mean, there's a lot of things that are standard with festivals, but we try to go a little bit further because at the end of the day, the bulk of our programming is actually created by our filmmakers themselves or our winners. So our screenplay competition, you win our screenplay competition, we have a focus called Script Biz. It's a full-day program on how to pitch and sell your script. The people running it are the former winners. So they've taken it to their own level. We just give them the platform, and here's the product, what are you going to do with it? And every year it's different. But it's exciting for us to actually see it as what we do is owned by the people that we service.
Tell me about the process for you. Like, for example, you are just wrapping up a year. I don't know how long it takes, and I would imagine with the amount of submissions you get, it takes a while. I know you have a staff and everybody is great, but what's the process like?
It's a full year to do a festival. I mean, we're already planning next year while we're doing our sidebar programs. And we require, by our rules, at least 3 judges for every piece that comes in. So we started the call for entries for this cycle August 22nd. The festival ended on the 9th.
Oh my goodness! So did you get a vacation at all ever? Or
I got a little bit of time off. But with that, I mean, you're still running at high speed, and that's when you try to get as much stuff done as possible. We did close our office down for 2 weeks at the end of August, but that's really kind of a lie because we were in touch with each other every day. We did make trips to the office, and you'll be talking with Sean Quirk, our program manager, director, who has been with us for 5 years. And Sean's sitting over there.
He'll be on.
And he'll be on. And the thing that's interesting is that, I mean, Sean and I were in touch every day. Sean's shaking his head, yes. And that was our vacation, because we had other things we were planning. I mean, we had to put the Vortex program together, which is our sci-fi fantasy horror festival.
Let's get right into it. Let's segue right into Vortex. You got this on the table here?
Yeah, that's my prop, because we have brand new graphics this year, which you have. And this one actually plays. I'll let you. No.
All right.
Just press the
button. They don't make these ray guns like they used to.
Yeah, I know.
That's fantastic. That's great.
Great sound effects.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about this is that we have gotten so many films over the years that went outside of the original genre, which was horror. And it made sense to us to start putting those films in. The reality is, with 5,700 films, and we show about 260, 265 during the main festival, I've got a lot of product that we can't show. And so the sidebar programs throughout the course of the year allows us to service our filmmakers by saying, yeah, okay, I don't have a slot for you. I love your movie. Let's put you into the documentary sidebar, Roving Hour. Let's put you into now the Vortex Festival. And that's one of the things that Sean has worked really well at. When Sean came in as our programmer, and I'm giving him a shameless plug, Sean said to me, I want to learn how to program, and I want to do it with the then Horror Festival first. And I can tell you that first year that he did that was the best festival we ever had. It wasn't slasher porn. It was very thoughtful. He actually created storylines, so if you had a bunch of short films in a 2-hour slot, you actually had a through line. You had an arc, a story arc. And even though they were disconnected, it actually came and told you a story, and it was very fulfilling.
As much as I like horror, I think the slasher aspect of it is my least favorite.
It's our least favorite too.
Personally, I'm more into like the paranormal stuff of
yeah,
horror. You
yeah,
know?
and we get that product
Yeah.
as well. So then we started seeing more and more stuff that tied in with fantasy and sci-fi. And I must confess, I'm a sci-fi person.
Me too. Love it. Even the cheesy stuff. That's some of my favorites.
Absolutely.
Oh, love
absolutely.
it. Love it.
And you know, I that's my bad thing. So for me to transition and do this, and it was nice because Sean was putting stuff in over the last couple of years that kind of matched that, but we didn't have the title for it. And we started youth programming last year, so we have stuff that's after-school programs free for kids in the schools. So of course we can't show them things that are a little bit off,
Right?
Because most of these films come with no ratings,
Right.
So that's been nice for us to transition. It's also given us opportunity to do some outdoor screenings and things that we couldn't do with local groups. And but that's I lay that at Sean's feet because he's the one that helped create that.
Great. Now, you also, I guess the term on the road is appropriate because now you've sort of broken up your venues to different locations too,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the nice thing about Rhode Island, and this is not a pejorative, it's a small state. And because it's a small state, we can do just about anything within a short distance. I mean, you're talking 33 miles wide, 45 miles high, and most of it's water in between.
Yeah, but I've noticed people need to pack bags to drive the length of Rhode Island.
If you go from Newport to Providence, it's a day trip.
gotta
At least
catch a
locally.
flight. Yeah.
You need to understand the Rhode Island mentality that it's considered a major feat. If I go from Newport to Providence, I'm going upstate, according to my neighbors.
Westerly must be a different country
Well,
for
Sean's
you.
from Westerly.
Okay.
Sean's out in Wyoming right now.
Need a passport to get there. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's great.
But the nice thing about the state, because of that, you can go very quickly from one place to the next. But I will also tell you, Rhode Islanders don't drive. It's a tourist destination, particularly in the summertime. But Rhode Islanders themselves, if you go for more than 5 miles, it's a major trip. That is the mentality, and I'm not speaking in a negative way. It is true. So what you do is you find the enclaves where the folks are located, and we can do that, where it can be one festival that you can drive, if you want to, from one place to the next, but we can still play something in Newport. We can play something in Kingston or in Jamestown or in Westerly, which is at the other end of the world in Rhode Island, right, Sean?
You got to catch a flight to go there.
You catch a flight.
Yeah.
But that's the nice thing about Rhode Island. We can actually go all over the place and make it a true statewide festival that doesn't kill the audience. Now, I will say that during the main festival, the whole downtown Providence is a campus.
Yeah.
Literally, everything is there, and everything plays there first, and then it will play out the other locations.
Do you do anything in the dead of winter where, I don't know if you were adversely affected by the brutal winter that we just had?
Well, we do Best of Fest screenings every month at different locations, and Jamestown's a good example because that's an island. And we do programming from October through July every year. And then they do an August festival thing, but it's not retro. And we get steady audiences there because, one, it's a local community. People can walk, they can go there. It's a nice way of escaping, particularly with bad weather. We've actually done really well during some of the bad weather, as long as they have power.
Oh, you're right, that's important.
But by localizing what we do, it's actually been beneficial.
Wow. Well, you are starting a new season now, so I'll give you the opportunity to have people go to your website and see what's there.
Sure.
What's on the website, by the way? Everything?
Everything,
Yeah.
yeah. Our website, which is www.rifilmfest.org. I'm looking directly at the camera and letting folks know that. But you'll find everything from the Vortex Festival, how to submit to the festival, all the different events. We do an Oscar event every year, and that's in end of February next year. February 28th, I believe, is Oscar night. We've been doing that for a number of years, and that's actually on stage at Veterans Memorial Auditorium,
Wow.
which is very cool.
Yeah.
So we'll have the whole thing catered. We drop a screen down, which is about 45 feet in length, and we actually have a ultra high def projector. So you actually be able to sit there on stage and look directly at a larger-than-life Oscar presentation.
Wow, that's impressive. Also, there are links on the website to social media because I know you're very active on social media,
Yes.
and I think it's important. I think filmmakers are there on social media, and that's where you need to be.
All the time, all
Yeah.
the time. And you know, the nice thing is for us, because we have 20 years of this, we have a large base of alumni. And those folks are constantly supporting us. I mean, for example, one of our alumni, Marlon Mason, you can check her out on IMDb, was very big in the 1960s, lots of television programs. She did work with Elvis. Marlon is semi-retired, but came out to start making movies. So she's become part of our family. She's actually shooting a film in Rhode Island in October, and she'll be here until, I believe, mid-month. What's nice about that is that she got the gig to shoot here from coming here this past year.
Wow. Is this a mainstream film?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
It's a
nice.
mainstream film. And as I mentioned, the Procopios are planning to shoot their film as well. I mean, Rhode Island has a lot of cool things to it. I mean, we've got our own Comic-Con coming in, and that's
right.
at the top of November. We've got folks that are into H.P. Lovecraft. We have the Necronomicon, which is every 2 years. Not kidding.
Wow.
And we actually do an H.P. Lovecraft walking tour during our Vortex Festival, which last year had over 100 people participating over 2 days. So you actually see the locations, not only where he lived, but the locations that inspired the stories that he told. And Lovecraft has come into his own now because you can see Lovecraft's influence on so much of the sci-fi stuff, not horror stuff, but sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
And, look at Alien and you'll see H.P. Lovecraft. And that's pretty, and, H.R. Geiger was inspired by Lovecraft. And he's the guy that designed the original alien creatures.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's really exciting when you see the fact that our little state has actually had the opportunity to create an enormous amount of talent that has rippled into the mainstream.
How's Rhode Island do the tourism and the organization that gets movie makers to want to come to Rhode Island? Do they do a good job of it?
That's our Rhode Island Film and Television Office, and the head of that is a guy named Stephen Feinberg. And Stephen, I need to just qualify by saying he's a personal friend and buddy. Stephen is a filmmaker, a screenwriter. He has a number of films that he did years ago. He's a USC graduate, grew up in Cranston, and like me is very much of a film geek. We share a passion. We both collect movie soundtracks, and we're both always trying to one-up the other, which is nice because we share stuff. But Stephen has done a remarkable job in terms of bringing folks to the state and also to making Rhode Island a user-friendly location. Stephen works very hard with our festival. We have a filmmakers lounge that he established, and I can tell you that our festival has really benefited from having him as a friend and supporter. And that's true for most states where they have film offices. The film offices are critical to bring in work that never would come in here. And people need to understand that it's a lot of the things in this region are tax credits. Well, whatever you get, if they bring in money and they're getting a tax credit, you never would have that money without the tax credit. So to me, it's always found money. And then the opportunity to have the talent coming in, which I think is really exciting.
Yeah, and it's and that brings tourism, and that brings more
God.
money.
Yeah,
the
one
domino
thing-
effect is amazing.
Newport is still milking The Great Gatsby from the 1970s. I mean, how many people even remember Robert Redford or Mia Farrow from that time frame? But they're still playing Great Gatsby every summer.
Yeah. Man, that's amazing. George T. Marshall, I wish we had more time for your segment. Executive Director and CEO, Flickers, Rhode Island International Film Festival. We're going to talk about Vortex coming up. Thanks again for being on the show.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure.
All right. We'll take a short break and come right back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest for the second segment is Sean Quirk. He is the program director. And, George he told it like it was. He told us everything there was, but it's your first time on the show, so I welcome you, too.
Hi, Sean.
And let me shoot
Great
you.
to be here. Oh,
It's a great first name to have, too. Tell me the duties of the program director.
well, my role as program director is really to sift through all the films and look at all of the judges' recommendations and then make the final decisions regarding the acceptances.
And how long does that take? Is that really like a year-long process that you get that many?
It's a year-long process. We get over 5,000 titles submitted, so really we're looking at things on a rolling basis, and we're accepting films throughout the year.
And it's not just you, the judges. I mean, there's a panel of people, I guess, that decide what's going to make the cut and what isn't. Is that how it works?
Well, they'll funnel everything down.
Okay.
And then really it all comes to me in the end.
Wow, look at you.
So
you've got the power.
Yeah.
All right, so give us some inside information. What, based on your likes, dislikes, the festival, what kind of a film makes it and what doesn't, depending on the category?
A film that makes it is one that is unique, and has a unique vision that really kind of sits with you, something you remember. A film that doesn't cut it is something that you've seen.
Been there, done that so
Yeah,
many times.
You'll see they have patterns. I find the films that really they get into the festival are films that really stick with me and stick with the judges, and the judges will come back 3 weeks later and say, that's a film. Like, that, I remember that. I can't forget that film. It's amazing.
Even if it's a short film, can you really be wowed by something? Can a story
Yeah.
be told in that short amount of time?
Sometimes even more powerful than a feature.
Because they got to squeeze it all in, right?
Yeah.
No kidding. So is there something that's really knocked you out, knocked you off your feet, and you go, wow, this so has to be in?
All the time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is it a struggle? I mean, the judges kind of sift it down and kind of funnel it down, but do you ever get to a situation where, man, I want all of it, but I can't do it all, film-wise?
That happens.
Yeah.
And and with that said, that's why we have all these sidebars too.
Yes, exactly.
So we can't fit everything in the main festival, so we've created more festivals to showcase more of our product because we have such great stuff coming in.
One of those is Vortex.
And
so
this is Vortex.
yeah, so I want you to talk about that. Now, Vortex, we learned in the first segment, has kind of morphed into what it is now, right?
It really has. I mean, at the beginning we got a lot more horror submissions, and we really had the horror festival, but we started getting more and more sci-fi and fantasy films submitted, and we wanted to showcase them as well, and we didn't have so much room in the main festival to do so, so we thought we'd just expand the horror festival to include sci-fi fantasy, as well as kids animation programming, to really make it a full-blown genre film festival.
I think that makes sense. I think that, George said it perfectly. The fantasy and the sci-fi stuff almost, unless it was going to have its own separate genre and festival itself, it really can go side by side. When you go to conventions, and we talked about that in the first segment, you'll see all that stuff together, with the
Exactly.
horror stuff.
And the same goes for other film festivals like Fantasia in Montreal. We wanted to kind of go around along the same model and really kind of expand and make it a very large program.
So sell us on the Vortex Festival. Now, I said I'm a big sci-fi fan, so this seems like it's right up my alley. What can people expect?
Well, people can expect everything from animated shorts, and those are playing Monday and Tuesday afternoon at 4, to your classic homage horror pieces that kind of reference the heyday of VHS home video, home recorded movies. It's a great film. And then we have some fantastic sci-fi feature films. So it really runs the gambit.
Now, when you get to that horror stuff and that sci-fi stuff, aren't you running into what you just talked about of sort of starting to see the same stuff all the time? Can you be unique in horror and sci-fi?
You can.
Can you?
And one great example is I have a whole package of films directed by women.
Is that
horror
right?
films.
No kidding.
And these female directors, they subvert the genre because horror films have historically been rather male-oriented.
Teenagers being stalked by some crazed lunatic who and slashes and cuts and all that. Now, are you saying that these women are saying the aggressor is the woman?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. They're playing with.
I want you to send all those movies to my house. I want to watch them. I'll judge them as well.
Yeah. So having a female as a director, they're really kind of playing with the genre, and they're changing it around, changing the rules.
That's exciting. And
So this is really exciting.
There's this Vortex is just about that horror, sci-fi, fantasy, the animation stuff that you're talking about. So how can people go and see this?
Well, it's going to be October 19th to the 25th, and it'll be playing Monday through Sunday. There'll be screenings every day. So our main venues are the URI Providence campus, right on Washington Street in downtown Providence, as well as the Bell Street Chapel on Broadway. And we'll also be screening a special screening at Roger Williams University.
Wow.
And that's going to be at 7:30 on Wednesday night.
Right.
And that feature film will be The Answer. It's a very unique sci-fi film. This guy, he's getting handwritten letters from his dead parents. They've been dead for 20 years. And
Love
they're giving, and these letters are warning him about what's going to happen 10 minutes in the future. So it's really interesting. It's a very strange sci-fi film.
Yeah.
These people are coming after him, and it's a great
I like
film.
it. I love it. I'm going to have to attend this myself. And all this information is on the website.
It's all on the website.
Which is?
rifilmfest.org.
Now, you as program director, are you active on social media as well? As far as
am.
getting the word out? And because there's so much that I see. I follow you guys on Twitter and on Facebook. And again, there's always something going on. I think this past year, to me anyway, at least if you base it strictly on social media, seemed like the busiest year ever with everything that you have
Really
going
has.
on.
We're doing a lot more blogs
Yeah.
now. We're doing a lot of filmmaker interviews. Every week we'll be putting something up, whether it's sci-fi related or as far as the main festival goes, throughout the year, we'll be doing filmmaker interviews.
Now, George mentioned in the first segment that we are segueing into a new season now. So
We
now,
are.
and what's happening with you guys now? I know obviously you're doing the festivals, but what else?
I mean, we're already getting ready for the main festival in August.
Next August.
Yeah.
2016 August. Wow.
We already have over 150 submissions for next year.
And you already had your vacation, which was you guys emailing and talking on the phone. And,
Yeah,
wow,
exactly.
That's amazing. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I'm very excited that this new part of it, because I'm huge into all the fantasy and sci-fi stuff, so I'm even more excited about it now. So.
Now, do you want me to say a few titles?
Yeah, go
before we
ahead.
go?
Let me shoot you
Great.
first. Give me some titles real quick.
So just quickly, Sean, like at 7 o'clock on Wednesday, there's going to be a great feature film. It's called Lake Nowhere, and that's the homage horror film that I was talking about. It's shot on film, but then they
Convert it?
disorient the image to make it look like it was recorded on home movie tape.
Okay.
It's really fantastic. It's well done. It even has a bunch of trailers at the beginning, fake trailers and fake horror movie trailers.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like the Grindhouse feel.
Nice.
And then I'd say
Family-friendly film that was. Yeah.
It's a great title. And then 7 o'clock on Thursday at Taft Auditorium at URI Providence, we'll be screening a local film. It's called The Fury, The Tales of Ronan Pierce. It's by a local director from Rhode Island. His name is Kevin McCarthy. It's a great feature film about a vigilante, a lot like the Sin City type scenario.
Okay, love that
but
too.
a great
Yeah.
film. He's very talented, and we're happy to have him as part of the festival.
Wow, and this is just a small tidbit of everything that's
small
going
tidbit.
on. If you happen to be watching the show after maybe some of these screenings have gone by, just go to the website because there's always something going on. There's always something that you can check out. What is the website again?
rifilmfest.org.
Sean Quirk, Program Director. Pleasure having you on the show as well. I'm psyched and excited about this. Thanks for being on.
Thank you, Sean.
All
Nice
right.
having you.
That is
Thanks
our
for
show
bringing
for
me on.
today. You can see this show and many others on our YouTube sites. Until next time, I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Take care.